All right, people, I'm going to continue on with Kings chapter 3, verse 6. And King Jehoram went out of Samaria the same time and numbered all Israel. And he went and sent to Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, saying, the king of Moab has rebelled against me. Would the God go with me against Moab to battle? And he said, I will go up. I am as thou art, my people as thy people, and my horses thy horses. And he said, which way shall we go up? And he answered, the way through the wilderness of Edom. So the king of Israel went, and the king of Judah and the king of Edom, and they fetched a compass 7 days' journey. And there was no water for the host and for the cattle that followed them. And the king of Israel said, alas, the Lord hath called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. But Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of the Lord, that we may inquire of the Lord by him? And one of the king of Israel's servants answered and said, here is Elijah, the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Elijah. Jehoshaphat said, the word of the Lord is with him. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him. And Elijah said to the king of Israel, what have I to do with thee? Look how men of God were. Look how men of God were. Yeah, we give honor to whom honor is due. But look how men of God are, true men of God. What got to do with you? Imagine saying that to a king. What he told Paul, you would go to kings and rulers for my name's sake. He said, stand bold. Don't be weak. And Jehoshaphat said, the word of the Lord is with him. And Elijah said unto the king Israel, what have I to do with thee? Get thee to the prophets of thy father. Look what he's saying. Go talk to them witches and warlocks. Go talk to them sorcerers, son. And to the prophets of thy mother. And the king of Israel said unto him, nay, for the Lord hath called these 3 kings together to deliver them to the hand of Moab. And Elijah said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, surely were it not that I regard the presence of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah. He's like, I ain't doing this for you. I will not look toward thee nor see thee. But now bring me a minstrel. And it came to pass when the minstrel played that the hand of the Lord came upon him. What do you say? Give me a song. Let me get crump first. Put that Lil John on. And he said, thus saith the Lord, make this valley full of ditches. For thus saith the Lord, ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain, yet the valley shall be filled with water, that ye may drink, both ye and your cattle and your beast. And this is but a light thing in the sight of the Lord. He will deliver the Moabites also into your hand. And ye shall smite every fenced city, and every choice city, and shall fell every good tree, and stop all wells of water, and mar every good piece of land with stones. And it came to pass the morning when the meat offering was offered, that behold, there came water by the way of Edom, and the country was filled with water. Look at this miraculous thing. I could make water in dry land. When all the Moabites heard that the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all they were able to put on armor, and upward and stood in the border. And they rose up early in the morning, and the sun shone upon the water. And the Moabites saw the water on the other side as red as blood. And they said, this is blood. The kings are surely slain. Look how God just confound your enemies. They have smitten one another. Now therefore Moab to the spoil. And when they came to the camp of Israel, the Israelites rose up and smote the Moabites. Look, he gave them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. So that they fled before them, but they went forward, smiting the Moabites even in their country. And they beat down the cities, and on every good piece of the land cast every man his stone, and filled it. And they stooped all the wells of water, and fell on the good trees. Only in Karasheth left they the stones thereof. Howbeit the slingers went about and smote it. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 men that drew swords, to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. Then he took his eldest son that should have reigned in his stead, and offered him for a burnt offering upon the wall. Look at that. They love to sacrifice their children to Baal and all these other people. And there was great indignation against Israel, and they parted from him and returned to their own land. Why do God do signs and wonders like that? To show that he is God. And you need to put away these false gods from around you. That's why he was so mad at the king. Like, what I got to do with you, man? Go talk to your sorcerers and your witches and warlocks. Go talk to them. Just think about it. He did it to turn them back to him. Why do you think Jesus performed miracles and did the things he did? So they could turn back to the Lord. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elijah, saying, Thy servant, my husband, is dead. And thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord. And the creditors come to take unto him and to my 2 sons to be bondmen. And Elijah said unto her, What shall I do for thee? Tell me, what hast thou in thy house? And she said, Thy handmaid have not anything in the house save a pot of oil. Then he said, Go borrow 3 vessels abroad of all thy neighbors, even empty vessels, borrow not a few. You know, something had happened like this with Elijah too. I ain't trying to rap now. All we got is this little bread, this meal here. All right. Fix me first. And they ate off that little meal for a long time. Sound familiar? Fish and loaves fed many people. This was going on in the Old Testament. God stopped doing miracles. He stopped doing stuff like that when the apostles came. Whatever. Then he said, Go borrow 3 vessels abroad, all thy neighbors, even empty vessels, borrow not a few. And when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy sons, and shalt pour out into all these vessels, and thou shalt set aside that which is full. So she went from him, and shut the door upon her and upon her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. And it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said to her son, Bring me yet a vessel. And he said to her, There is not a vessel more. And the oil stayed. Then she came and told the man of God, and said, Go sell the oil, and pay thy debt, and live thou and thy children of the rest. Look at that miraculous thing. But think about it. Faith comes believing. She had to believe the man of God. And the man of God had to be believable and faithful to the Lord too. When 2 are joined together in my name, I would be in the midst of them. He went to church. No, he went to her house. And it fell on that day that Elijah passed to Shunem, where was a great woman. And she constrained him to eat bread, entertain strangers, son. And so it was that after she had passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread. And she said to her husband, Behold, now I perceive that this is an holy man. How she know that? I will go before you, says the Lord. If my peace be there, let your peace remain. If my peace be not there, let it return to you again. That's what the Bible says. That's why a lot of people ain't receiving blessings. They see a bald-headed man like Elijah coming around. He ain't nothing. Oh, really? But if you spiritual, you see. And she perceived unto her husband, Behold, now I perceive that this is a holy man of God, which passes by us continually. Everybody didn't see it. Those who have eyes to see, but they saw it. Let us make a little chamber in the upper room. I pray thee on the wall, and let us set up for him there a bed, and a table, and a stool, and a candlestick. And it shall be when he cometh us, that he shall turn thither. And it fell in that day he came thither, and he turned into the chamber and lay there. And he said unto Gehazi, his servant, remember that name, call the Shunammite. And when he had called her, she stood before him. And he said unto him, Say now to her, Behold, thou hast been careful for us with all this care. What is it to be done for thee? Wouldst thou be spoken for the king or the captain of the host? And she answered, I dwell among my own people. And he said, What then is to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, Verily she have no child, and her husband is old. Sound familiar? Abraham old. I hear people all the time. Like, I'm 43 and my wife 48. And I tell people, I said, I do want another child one day. And I hear this come out of Christian's mouth. You know, she passed the age of... Do y'all read the Bible? Oh, you have little faith. You hear Christians say it all the time. You're too old to have a baby. I'm like, what are y'all reading? how readest thou? These are Christians I be talking to. Ain't got no faith. Well, the doctor said, let's see what happens. And he said, call her. Verily she have no child, and her husband is old. And he said, call her. When he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, about this season, according to the time of life, 9 months, thou shalt embrace a son. And he said, nay, my Lord, thou man of God, do not lie to thy handmaid. And the woman conceived. Because the one thing about a prophet of the Lord, what he said will come to pass. Now think about that, all them people that be prophesying to you. By this time tomorrow, you're going to be, stop listening to them, unsubscribe, and bear a son at that season that Elijah had said unto her according to the time of life. Now you understand what a real prophet is like. Now you can understand these false prophets. And when the child was gone, it fell on that day that he went on to his father to reapers. And he said to his father, my head, my head. And he says to the lad, carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then he died. It's the Old Testament now. And she went up and laid on the bed of the man of God and shut the door upon him and went out. Sound familiar? Elijah did something like this too. And she called unto her husband and said, send me, I pray thee, one of the young men and one of the asses. I can't wait till they make a show about this, that I may run to the man of God and come again. And he said, wherefore wilt thou go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, it shall be well. My sheep know my voice. Then she saddled an ass and said to her servant, drive and go forward. Slack not thy riding for me, except I bid thee. So she went and came into the man of God to Mount Carmel. Ain't that the same mount where they burnt up the prophets at? Elijah, I'm going to set up my kingdom right here as a testament against them. Don't cross me. And it came to pass when the man of God saw her afar off, that he said to Gehazi his servant, behold, yonder is the Shunammite. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her. He said, afar off. Elijah had the eyes of a hawk. Pling! Oh, that's the Shunammite woman. Is it well with thee? Is it well with thy husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, it is well. And when she came to the man of God, the hill, she caught him by the feet, but Gehazi came near to thrust her away. And the man of God said, let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her. Look how spiritual he was. And the Lord have hid it from me and have not told me. What? What? Boy, he talked with the Lord. Then she said, did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, gird up thy loins and take my staff in thy hand and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute thee, answer him not. Again, and lay my staff upon the face of the child. Oh, so great faith I have never seen. You remember Jesus said that? I got people under me. I tell one servant to go here and go there. I mean, I haven't found no sort of faith. Go home. And when he came home, the child was healed from a distance. He didn't even have to go. But that ain't happened this way this time. And the mother of the child said, as the Lord liveth, as thy soul liveth, I would not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. But if she would have listened to him, it would have happened the same way. As the Lord liveth, as thy soul liveth, I would not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing. Gehazi ain't had that much faith also. But you'll learn that later. Wherefore he went again to meet him and told him, saying, the child is not awake. And when Elijah was coming to the house, behold, the child was dead and laid upon his bed. It's the Old Testament, huh? He went in, therefore, and shut the door upon the twain and prayed unto the Lord. Prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Prayer of a righteous man do some things. Prayer of a righteous man maketh one rich. You're seeking the wrong thing, people. And he went up and lay upon the child and put his mouth upon his mouth and his eyes upon his eyes and his hands upon his hands. And he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. The doctor said it's over. The doctor said it's over. I give up. That's how we are most of the time. We don't even try to trust in the Lord. What the doctor said. Then he returned and walked in the house and to and fro and went up and stretched himself upon him, and the child sneezed 7 times. Look, the Lord loved that number 7. And the child opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi and said, call this Shunammite. So he called her, and when she was coming to him, he said, take up thy son. Sounds like somebody else you know, don't it? Then she went in and fell at his feet and bowed herself to the ground and took up her son and went out. Glory be to God. Check this out. If you shall eat anything poisonous. And Elijah came again to Gilgal, and there was a dwarf in the land. And the sons of the prophets were sitting before him, and he said unto his servant, set on the pot, the great pot, and sieve pottage for the sons of the prophets. And went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered therefore wild gourds in his lap full, and came and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. So they poured out for the men to eat, and it came to pass that they were eating of the pottage that they cried out and said, oh, thou man of God, there's death in the pot. That's how sometimes when you eat somebody cook, you like, it's death in the pot. This is horrible. They could not eat thereof. But he said, then bring meal. And he cast it into the pot and said, pour to the people that they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot. I do meal in there. Just meal. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. You shall eat anything. Where's your faith? But that's why we pray before we eat. Lord, thank you for this food I'm about to receive. That's why you pray. You know, I can honestly say in my life since I've been born, especially since I gave my life to God, I pray before I eat all the time. And I haven't had food poisoning yet. I ate some pork chops and everything. Shrimp. To the clean, all things are clean. But I know growing up, my mom was just like, don't eat everybody cooking. Don't eat everybody cooking. I ain't scared of no witch. Scared of no voodoo priest. I'm gonna eat in their face so they be like, this is delicious. He should be dead by now. Read Psalms. He should be dead, but I know I poisoned him about 12 times. And some people probably tried to poison us and we still standing. Like, why ain't he dead yet? Oh, that's great. You might have tried to put death in the pot. But no weapon formed against me shall prosper in the name of the Lord. And then they like, golly, I don't know what we're going to do to kill this man. There was no harm in the pot. Glory be to God. Just do some meal in there. I think that was just a show. Like, eat, man. Y'all hungry? Eat. Meal? When have you heard that meal destroys poison? It don't. Just throw some meal in there. Some cornmeal. That's all, man. And there came a man from Baal Shalisha and brought the man of God bread of the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and full ears of corn in the husk thereof. And he said, give unto the people that they may eat. Sound familiar? And his servant said, what shall I set this before, 100 men? He said again, give the people that they may eat. For thus saith the Lord, they shall eat and shall leave thereof. So he set it before them, and they did eat and left thereof according to the word of the Lord. Sound familiar, don't it? A lot of acts that my boy Elijah did. Pave the way for the Lord. Pave the way for the Lord. Elijah shall come first. Elijah came. Elijah came. Showing great wonders, signs and wonders. John the Baptist came. Doing great things. Jesus came. Ooh. Y'all better pay attention, boy. Boys and girls. So, Elijah went back just preaching the gospel. No. They came through just doing the will of God. Look how easy it is. We love to spread the gospel. How about doing the gospel? That's what Elijah did. Elijah to come around. You know the commandments? What's the 10 commandments? No. He just went to people, house to house, stayed at one house for a little while, went to another person's house and healed them, and same thing Jesus told us to do. And all we want to do is preach and say, you can't do that. You can't heal. Make sure you give your tithes and offerings. Let me pause and I will continue.